I didn't have anybody to look up to that looked like me, that was my size, you know. There's boxers that were Mexican, but they were always smaller. So I never really had those dreams that I could, you know, be doing something like that on TV. I could be a sports star.
There's always an equity in life. Some men are killed in a war, and some men are wounded, and some men never leave the country. And some men are stationed in the Antarctic, and some are stationed in San Francisco. It's very hard in military or in personal life to assure complete equality. Life is unfair.
In a lot of ways, Cain's story is a continuation of the journey started by his father, Cain Velasquez.
He walked the desert here with nothing, you know, no money in his pockets, nothing. Just walked the desert, just try to come to the U.S. to get a better life for him and his family.
Cain was deported 8 times trying to cross the border before settling in the U.S. permanently. By chance, he met Cain's mother Isabel at a dance in Eloy, Arizona. Despite being a U.S. citizen, Isabel related to Cain as she had also spent some time in Mexico due to certain circumstances.
It's kind of funny, my grandpa, he had papers to work in the U.S., but he was from Mexico. And the government here in the U.S. found out he was selling guns illegally. So they're like, you have 2 choices. Yeah. You go to prison or you go back to Mexico. So it's like, he took all his family back to Mexico. They bought a good chunk of land over there, yeah, which we still have like a little bit of part of.
Shortly after, Cain proposes. And all Isabel wants to know is this for love or is it for a green card? Well, it turns out it was love. On July 28th of 1982, Cain is born. Growing up, he and his siblings Efrain Jr. and Adela witnessed their parents engaging in backbreaking labor in the fields following the lettuce, cauliflower, and broccoli harvest throughout the West.
Walking narrow beds, bending over for hours, looking for weeds. Each row takes at least an hour.
It takes a certain type of character. It takes a certain type of wherewithal to be able to go out and do this all day.
Just watching them work day in and out. You know, I think one of the hardest jobs is working out in the fields in Yuma, Arizona, which is 110 in the summertime. Pitch lettuce, boxes of lettuce, put them in the in semi-trucks, and he did this every day. You know, as you get older, you appreciate it more.
Observing the work ethic of his parents would instill a sense of pride into young Cain. Already blessed with size and athleticism, he mirrored their approach and applied it to sports. By the time he graduated from Kofa High School, he had won the 5A Arizona Wrestling Championship twice and had compiled a record of 110 wins and only 10 losses while simultaneously being the captain of both his wrestling and football teams. After a brief stint at Iowa Central Community College, where he managed to win the NJCAA National Championship, Cain transferred to Arizona State University. Around this time, he decided to tattoo his chest, something that would end up becoming his trademark.
Man, I remember being so scared of Cain Velasquez when I was, I think I talked about this last time on your podcast, when I was a kid wrestling in college, because I was like this tiny ass little white boy wrestler, and Cain would walk around with just his singlet straps on and shorts, and he had brown pride tattooed across his chest. He's just huge heavyweight, wrestling D1 for ASU. I was just like so scared of that guy. I was like, damn, look at that guy, man. Just walking around like wanting to probably rip my head off, has brown pride tattooed on his chest, just wearing just his singlet straps, just huge.
Despite some nefarious assumptions about his ink and even some infrequent accusations of racism, Cain has consistently given the same 2 reasons for getting the tattoo.
One, everything my dad did to get over here. He crossed the border illegally. He was deported a couple times, and just all that he did, it makes me just so proud. You know that he had a vision in his mind of what he wanted, and he wasn't gonna stop until he got it. And plus, just in the media, there was really nobody that I can look up to, look like me. That I never really had those dreams that I can be on TV or I can, you know, be really successful. I never really had those dreams. There's nobody that I can really relate to growing up. So now, I mean, that I'm in that position, it just gives me a lot of pride to be, you know, to be Mexican, to know what my family has done to be here, to what all our people have done to be here.
The word's brown pride encompassed everything that Cain felt that he was. His heritage, his family's history, his work ethic, his goals, his identity. But most of all, they represented his purpose, the collection of reasons for why he was never going to give up.
You want to hear an Aztec death whistle?
Sure.
Cain proved to be a standout wrestler at ASU, compiling a record of 86-17 over 3 seasons and placing 5th in the country in 2005 and 4th in 2006, a fact that would go on to help him greatly just a few years later. But we're not quite there yet. After graduating in 2006, Cain decided that wrestling was no longer enough.
You know, I saw the sport growing, and I told myself, man, that I want to start doing this sport after I'm done with, getting my degree in wrestling, that I want to start doing MMA. I just thought that nobody could beat me in a fight. Just wrestling wasn't enough anymore, I wanted to strike.
And so, through agent Dwayne Zinkin, Cain was referred to the American Kickboxing Academy's head coach, Javier Mendez, and the rest, as they say, is history. Well, not quite. This might be hard to believe now, but Javier wasn't very interested in having a Mexican heavyweight.
Mexican heavyweight? He's like, no, it does not.
What is this?
It does not exist.
Because Mexicans aren't that big, and they're not that athletic if they're that big. So I was like, so I lost interest right then and there. I said,
I don't know what he was expecting, but he saw me and he was like, whoa. I was like.
And I looked at him, I go, man, I thought you'd be a little heavier, right? But I meant fat, right?
Yeah.
I didn't mean like heavier.
He saw that I had it right away just from the first trade, just from my first sparring session.
Cain picked him up real quick and slammed him. And he got the message. And I said, oh, wow, this guy's special. He is special. And I said, this guy's got what it takes. And there was light sparring. It wasn't real sparring.
He was like, dude, I know already, like, when you had it.
That's when I said, this guy's going to be the world champ.
With wrestling behind him, Cain became a regular at AKA. Javier had a lot of hope for the young prospect, predicting that he would be his first heavyweight champion. And with that hope came a lot of brutal training.
The sparring sessions were the craziest thing you could ever see or experience. It's like I haven't had a harder fight than that, and you have like 2 or 3 guys rotating on you as you're sparring, and you're sparring 100%. You're sparring against
guys like Daniel D.C. Cormier, a former Olympic team member in wrestling and future UFC heavyweight and light heavyweight champion.
Dude, he gave everything he had, I gave everything I had for each sparring session,
There were days that I tried to run out of the cage from Velasquez, and they won't allow me to. It's nuts.
It's just like this. I do something where it tops him, and then it just kind of.
Yeah.
The training paid off quickly, and Cain began to improve by leaps and bounds. Within the year, he was making his debut against Jesse Fujarichik. After winning the fight by TKO in the first round and following it up with another first round stoppage 2 months later, Cain got a call from the big leagues.
I'm interested to see how relaxed these guys are here in their debut. UFC Jitters has gotten many a fighter here. Cain is unloading on Morse.
And it is all over! Cain Velasquez, victorious in his UFC debut!